This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
What's up, Detroit sports fans? Welcome to the Fan Report Show made by fans for fans, powered by the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. I'm Nick, and joining me today is Andrew's going to give us this week's topics.
Did another Lion just get slighted by the national media? We'll talk about it, and we'll also play a little game of Keep or Let Walk with Detroit business free agents. Plus, we're bringing back the Take-a-thon game. It's a Fan Report.
A Lion slighted by the Detroit media. When?
It's never happened.
Never in my life have I seen that happen.
That's like telling me Kool-Aid's unhealthy.
Bert Kreischer would beg to differ.
My favorite quote from that podcast. That's not adding calories, is it? As he drinks a 64-ounce jug of Kool-Aid.
Is there just Kool-Aid? Yeah. Oh, man. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's one of Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura's podcasts.
Yeah.
It's
Two Bears, One Cave.
Yes. Hilarious. Highly recommend. But we're just fans. We're just fans.
We're not sponsored by another podcast.
No. As much as I would like to be by them.
I would love to have those two on this show.
Oh, my God. That would be amazing.
We'd probably be talking like Tampa football, but like still. I'd love to.
I'll talk Tampa football with them. I don't care. But, Andrew, how was your Memorial Day weekend? Let me start there.
I feel like I need a weekend from my weekend.
I feel that. I also tend to agree.
Our family actually, our whole family, not just, parents, actually got together for the first time, as a big group for a barbecue.
That is allowed now.
Yep. And then
I technically don't think it was that this past weekend. I think it started today. Anyways, continue.
So for every Detroit-based listener, I'm going to assume a lot of you guys are probably familiar with the Movement Festival that occurs every year in Detroit. It was canceled in 2020 due to COVID. It's a electronic music festival. So they put on a mini movement this year, apparently, and it's always over Memorial Day weekend. And what they did this year is they normally have it in a big outdoor area. Can't remember I'm blanking right now. What's the name of the park on Jefferson?
Hart Plaza.
Hart Plaza, yeah, that's where it was last time.
I actually had to think about that for a second.
Yeah, I was blanking. But anyway, so they just did it in random venues this year. So the DJs that my cousins want to go see were playing at this place called TV Lounge, and it's free to get in. So they're begging me to come, and I'm not I'm not big into the electronic music scene. I don't fully understand the music, if I'm being completely honest. But I was like, all right, I haven't seen you guys in a minute. I'll go out with you guys. So we went. And they told me, they informed me that's probably going to be just fair warning, an hour and a half wait in line to get into the venue, which I was like, you're making me not want to go. we got to the venue, the line is wrapped around the block, and we waited in line for first of all, we waited for about 2 hours already.
Oh, God.
And a group, me and most of my, half of the cousins were trying to convince the other half, this is not worth it. Either go to another venue or just hit a bar or hit the casino.
Right.
Why are we just standing
2
out
hours
here?
is a long time to, in your case, at least 2 hours is a long time to do something you don't enjoy. That's like waiting in line for a really shitty roller coaster.
Exactly. I was just taking solace in the fact that I was just getting to, shoot the shit with my cousins for a little bit. And that was the only thing worth passing the time with. But, anyway, so one of my cousins, who's the most restless one of the group, goes, I have a plan. And we're still, judging by how fast the line's moving, we're about halfway up the line from where we started. So, we would technically still have another 2 hours to go.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And
fuck that.
Exactly. And I'm like, guys, the person you came to see has already started their set. And if people are coming to see this person, they're not going to leave.
No, they're not going to leave. You're going to miss that.
There's definitely not going to be this many people that are going to leave for us to go all the way up. And he goes, I got a plan. And he just leaves. And I'm like, where are you going? And he just left. And then he calls us about 2 minutes later. He goes, I'm towards the front of the line, send one person up at a time. He goes, send one now. And then he hangs up. I'm like, wait, what the hell is this? So one of my cousins walks up, and then 3 minutes later, I get a phone call. Send the next one in. And we're like, what the hell is going on? So basically, he got us like towards the front of the line, but again, the line wasn't moving. We waited there. We were at the front of the line. We waited still about an hour, and then we decided to dip. So like 3 hours total of waiting. The biggest waste of time.
So just out of curiosity, what was he doing? Like, what was the plan there? Was he like making friends with somebody else in line?
Basically, the way the line worked was it was a decently single file line for most of the way. And then in the front, like 10%, it's just a giant crowd. So he kind of like inconspicuously snuck his way into the crowd. And then he basically pretended like the rest of us were his buddies that were coming up to say hi. And it worked. I think everyone in line was too high to notice. I think that's
probably. I mean, as the demographic you get there.
Yeah, but so yeah, and the worst part is we're like, all right, like let's just leave. Then we
is demographic the right word? I don't think it's the right word. As the
right
type
word.
of people,
target audience.
Yeah, as the target audience. There we go.
But so we're like, all right, 3 hours is enough. Let's leave. But the worst part is, by the time we left, it was like 10:30.
Oh God!
And there was that 11 o'clock curfew.
Yeah, bars close in a half hour.
We couldn't go anywhere. I was like, we literally just wasted this whole night. Because y'all were too stubborn to leave the damn line. And my feet hurt so bad after that, by the way.
So, like, what did you guys end up doing?
I went back to one of my cousin's house who has a full DJ.
Oh, so you guys
setup.
didn't like do anything there?
No, he has a full DJ setup in his living room, and they somehow managed to get.
I'm just gonna take a guess.
Yes,
he's a bachelor.
In the traditional definition of the word, yes. He has a girlfriend.
He lives alone.
He lives alone.
Okay.
He has a girlfriend.
So yes, he's a bachelor. Yes. That is a bachelor pad. All right.
Anyway, as I was saying, so they somehow, I don't know how this happened. My cousin called his friend, and his friend showed up with 6 pizzas. I don't know where he got the pizzas from. I don't know how he got the pizza.
That's a great hookup.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. That is an awesome hookup. I wish I could just make a phone call and have 6 pizzas show up to my door.
Yeah. So, he just started DJing at his own house. And
interesting.
And we just kind of drinking a pizza. The weirdest night I've ever had.
That is a weird night. Clearly that night didn't go as planned for you guys, but
Not
I mean, it sounds like it ended up pretty halfway decent.
That's my story.
Well, I mean, I've heard of worse Memorial Day weekends. I mean, Saturday I hung out with you all day. We, kind of bar hopped a little bit, and
that was fun.
Then we hung out at my place, and Sunday I just kind of hung around, didn't really do much. And Monday I went over to my family's lake house and hung out with my siblings, and that was about it. Came home, hung out at home the rest of the night, and then I worked today. So yippee, back to work, back to normal life. But I mean, it was a halfway decent Memorial Day weekend. It was nice to have the extended weekend off from work. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and kick it off here. Did you want to start with the Lions talk with where they were slated in the national media?
Yeah, let's start with that. So basically, Chris Sims is doing his yearly quarterback rankings. He's in the middle of it right now. We don't have the full rankings. He does the top 40. We've gotten 40 through 27 right now. So, but our local quarterback is already in the ranking. I'm going to give you everyone he's above, and then I guess at this point you'll tell me, is he being overrated at all? And then we'll get to where he is.
All right.
So starting at 40, Case Keenum is number 40. Justin Fields is number 39.
Interesting.
Trey Lance is number 38.
Okay.
Kellen Mond is number 37. Don't ask me who that is.
Texas A&M rookie drafted in the 3rd round by the Minnesota Vikings. And yes, I just looked that up.
Marcus Mariota is number 36. Tyrod Taylor is number 35.
All right, let me pause you there for a second.
Don't ask me who Tyrod Taylor and Marcus Mariota play for, because I don't know.
I thought Mariota played for Oakland.
Does he?
I thought he did.
I honestly forgot about Marcus Mariota, like legitimately.
I thought he was the backup in Oakland. Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback in Houston. I know that, is provided Deshaun Watson doesn't play. He's the quarterback in Houston this year. Marcus Mariota, I know last year was the backup for Oakland, and not Oakland, Las Vegas. Sorry, Las Vegas. He still is. He's the backup for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Gotcha. Anyway, moving on. So that was 35
before I pause, you move on. Is Tyrod Taylor the most disrespected guy in the league?
Yeah, because like I've never seen him be like outwardly bad.
Me neither.
He's always just been solid, not
like,
good, not great. It's just every time a team gets a new quarterback, it's the team that Tyrod Taylor's on. Right.
It's always the team Tyrod Taylor gets stuck with. Watch everything. Something comes out that Deshaun Watson ended up doing nothing wrong, and there's the whole thing with the Texans is overblown. He actually wants to play for him, or they make amends, and he decides he'll play for him this year, and then Tyrod Taylor gets screwed again. Mm-hmm. I feel like every single time, like last year, dude had a shot to play in front of a rookie, and he ended up getting his lungs stabbed by a doctor, giving him a cortisone shot.
Yep.
Like, dude has the worst luck and is straight up the most disrespected quarterback in the league because, frankly, every year he actually gets to play, I would rank him somewhere in the 20s. So, like, the guy's
would you
not
say
a
right now
quarterback.
Would you say right now he's ranked too low at 35?
Yes, I would. I think he is disrespected 100%. And the unluckiest quarterback in the league as well.
Number 33, Drew Lock. Number 32.
Who was 34?
Was Tua.
Okay,
33 was Drew Lock. Oh, yeah, I skipped that. Sorry. 34 is Tua. 33 is Drew Lock. And 32 is Teddy Bridgewater. And that brings us to Jared Goff at number 31. Is there anyone that's below Goff? Before we even get to Goff's ranking, is there anyone that's below Goff that you put above him?
What is the ranking based on? How they are right here, right now? Like, what we expect this quarterback to be this year? Or are we factoring in everything? Potential, what they've won, where they've been, how good have they had good years? Like, what are we factoring here?
All I can judge is Chris Sims. It's based on Chris Sims' opinion of the quarterback.
Well, okay.
That's what I've been trying to find.
Judging by
some criteria
what he's said so far in this list, I think Chris Sims may have hit his head before he did this list. A little too hard, might I add. If that's the case, then I would probably put Tua a little bit higher.
Well, how about this? I can help you out. I can tell you exactly what Chris Sims said about Jared Goff and why he's at 31, and maybe that'll give us some insight into
fair enough. Let's do that.
He's ranking
Let's
this.
do that.
Okay, so he says, we know he's played in big games, but there's a number of questions about Jared Goff, certainly.
Pause. Big games, meaning the biggest game. Just throwing that out there.
He says, first off, no redeeming unbelievable physical qualities or traits where you just go, wow, what a great athlete, or wow, what a great arm, or wow, he can process and go through reads as quick as anybody in football. There's none of that. So that's why he's 31 to me. So again, I think it's just his opinion of the quarterback.
This sounds like the laziest article I think I've ever, like the laziest ranking I've ever heard of. I don't really like him. He's not cute enough for me. Like that's pretty much what that sounds like.
And then he continues on. Obviously, you can win games with him, but it has to be within a certain formula or a certain way, in my opinion. Listen, there's good arm strength. He can throw the ball hard and far. But
he just said he doesn't have good arm strength, but continue.
But it's one of the least catchable balls in the game, and it can be inaccurate at times. And when pressed on what he meant by that, he said, it's a lot of hard wobblers, never spirals, doesn't even really spin, really. Those are really hard on wide receivers because it just kind of hits you. When Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady throws those perfect spirals, first off, it's easy to focus. It's easy to put the hands in the perfect spot. And because it's spinning so hard, it almost digs into your gloves. If you throw a kind of knuckler, it's not moving. The receiver thinks, oh, I'm going to catch it perfect. Wait, that hit me in the wrong spot because it's wobbling, and now I dropped it. That's what I mean by an uncatchable ball. Basically saying he's throwing wobblers.
The first half of that analysis was literally so generic. It was insert quarterback name here and was just overly generic. But the second half of that, he went so far into the fact that the guy doesn't throw an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady spiral that it makes him the second worst starting quarterback in the league. I don't know if Chris Sims is just angry or if he truly doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Like,
He's had his fair share of hot takes in the past.
To say the least, yes. I mean, am I going to sit here and say Jared Goff's the greatest quarterback ever to put on a Detroit Lions uniform? No, I'm not. But to say the man is a terrible quarterback because he doesn't throw an Aaron Rodgers-esque catchable ball, come on, man.
Oh, don't worry, he grills him further than that too. If you wanted more.
Wow, he really must have been angry before this. Then let's hear it. If he goes into that type of specifics with like the man's face, then then Jared Goff must have slept with his girlfriend or something.
He said the thing that bothers me more than anything about Goff is that for all his play, he doesn't play the game like a really experienced quarterback. Just knowing the situation, knowing the game, don't make this throw here. It's 3rd and 1. It's a bootleg. You're right open. Run and get the first down. But he throws the ball incomplete and they got a punt. There's just too much of that in his game. And he says he was exposed like against the Dolphins last season when he couldn't detect the blitz packages. He said it became kind of a thing. Hey, you can blitz Jared Goff. You might not know where to go with the ball or get to the right check or know where his hot is.
Okay, but isn't that a problem with like 85% of quarterbacks in the league?
What, not being able to detect the blitz?
Yes.
I mean, you should be able to detect the blitz.
Not just detect the blitz, but like making the proper decision on where to go with the ball. Does Matthew Stafford always make the right decision on where to go with the ball? No, he proved he doesn't last year. Like we've seen Stafford struggle to figure out where to go with the ball or how to detect the blitz or adjust his protections. I'll go out there and say that I straight up think that this is a problem with 80% of quarterbacks in the league. Why? Because there's only like 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 quarterbacks in the league that the offensive coordinator gives full autonomy to. How many quarterbacks do you see at the line making audibles as they see the defensive setup? Not many. And it's only the best ones. Those are the guys that don't have that problem.
It's not necessarily making an audible, but it's knowing if you detect the blitz, check down.
Okay, it's not just the audible; it's the adjusting your protections. Most quarterbacks don't have the absolute autonomy to make decisions at the line in this league. Most don't. Should they? Yes, but do they? No, because they don't. They can't recognize it well enough. They're easily fooled by the defensive bluffs and the way that the defense is set up. There's a reason that you see guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and the premier quarterbacks in the league changing so much at the line because they're able to. They're allowed to. They're given that autonomy. Other quarterbacks in this league are not. So I'm going to say that what Chris Sims just said there is a load of horse shit, and it's a problem for about 80% of quarterbacks in this league.
So with that being said, are you taking anyone that just named and saying they're actually better than Jared Goff, or would you say every quarterback I named before Jared Goff should be where they're at?
It's tough for me to take a rookie that is going to start for his team like a Justin Fields, that we expect to start for his team like a Justin Fields, and say that he's not better or he is.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out where to place a Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I agree with that.
Trey Lance, it's a little bit easier because I don't think he is going to start this year. At least not right away. I think it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo starting at least the first 6 weeks of that for that team. Beyond that,
just out of curiosity, why is Kellen Mond ahead of Trey Lance and Justin Fields?
That I don't know, and that's again, I think he got hit in the head before he made this list. But so I'm going to take Justin Fields out of it. I would, if I had to take one guy from behind Jared Goff that I may consider putting in front of him, it's Tua Tagovailoa. And I know last year he didn't show us a ton, but he did show us enough, and there is a ton of potential there to make you say, all right, this guy can be a good quarterback. They just need to open the playbook up to him a little bit more to allow him to make decisions and, allow him to succeed or not. Last year I felt like they overly protected Tua Tagovailoa when it came to the playbook, and because he really never made big mistakes. He just wasn't able to do enough, and that's why they went to Ryan. When they pulled him for Ryan Fitzpatrick, he was like 8 for 10 for 80 yards. Was that bad by any measure? No, but the offense wasn't getting going because, they don't give him the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I feel
which is why I'd say it's kind of hard to truly make the argument to put him against Jared Goff, because again, it's what you saw with him was so limited, and you saw a lot of good, but you didn't see the result of that.
But I also didn't really see a lot of bad, and with Jared Goff, I have seen some bad, at least in the last few years. So there are negatives for Jared Goff that I don't necessarily. I'm not necessarily able to prove are there with Tua. And also, I think the potential with Tua is a big reason why I may put him a little bit ahead of Jared Goff. That's a big one for me as well, is the potential that's there.
Now, if we're arguing potential, I think Trey Lance, Justin Fields should be above guys like Mariota and Tyrod Taylor and Drew Lock.
I mean, again, I think Tyrod's disrespected. So
I do too.
Drew Lock, I think, should be like number 40. He's terrible. Continue.
All right, now we have the names of 4 quarterbacks that are ahead of Jared Goff. I'm going to list them off, and you just tell me agree or disagree.
Okay.
First name is Mac Jones.
Disagree. Again, why? Continue. I can't give a reason why I would put Mac Jones ahead of Jared Goff. The guy's unproven. Continue.
29, Andy Dalton.
Disagree. Andy Dalton sucks. Continue.
Number 28, Trevor Lawrence.
Agree. Continue.
27, Zach Wilson.
What?
Whoopsie daisy.
All right, so Chris Sims really did get hit in the head before this list. How can you put Zach Wilson above Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, if we're like talking rookies and we're talking about potential, like where's the argument for Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence?
It'd be one thing if you were putting Zach Wilson on the Atlanta Falcons and Julio Jones was staying and he had just these weapons galore and he had every opportunity to succeed. But no, he's on the Jets. The Jets suck. Everywhere.
You make the argument Trevor Lawrence is the better quarterback, has more potential, and
way better weapons,
and the better offense,
way better weapons. Like he straight up got a really nice receiving core with DJ Chark and D.D. Westbrook. Yeah, and his other one. They had 3 solid receivers there last year. They do. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Those are the 2 that were on my fantasy team.
Well,
actually, D.D. Westbrook was
the number 3 guy, I thought.
Yeah. D.D. Westbrook was very much a flyer on my fantasy team. He would just come and go.
Laviska Shenault is another one.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yep. Laviska Shenault. And, fun fact, Marvin Jones. Another toy for Trevor Lawrence to throw the football to. We know him very well. So, yeah, DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, D.D. Westbrook is not on the team any longer, by the way. He signed somewhere else. So
Jamal Agnew is also
on that roster, yes. I don't expect him to be much of a factor in the receiving game.
And don't forget Tim Tebow.
Have you seen that man's arms in training camp?
Yeah, you can't forget it. That's why I said don't forget Tim Tebow.
That dude's been working out. I guess we won't forget Tim Tebow. He is listed 4th on the tight end depth chart. Just throwing that out there. Well, no, I don't see how you can argue Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence, and I don't really think that you can argue Zach Wilson over Jared Goff either. And the reason I say that is because you have to remember. Okay, let me ask you this: of the quarterbacks that we talked about, not named Andy Dalton, how many have made a Pro Bowl?
I'm gonna go 0. The only one I was thinking of was possibly Mariota. I think he might have made it one year.
Jared Goff.
Think so.
Jared Goff made a Pro Bowl.
Oh, I didn't think we were including Jared Goff.
No,
I thought we were talking about the round. Oh, okay.
I don't know if Mariota has and I don't actually know if Andy Dalton has. I think he has.
I don't know why I feel like Mariota had one Pro Bowl here, but I'm probably wrong.
He may have. The only other name I'm thinking of for some reason, I feel like he randomly made a Pro Bowl is Case Keenum. Did he make the Pro Bowl the one year?
Mariota never made a Pro Bowl.
Never made a Pro Bowl.
So ignore me.
Case Keenum did not either, even though he did have the one really good year in Minnesota. But so one Pro Bowl. Outside of Andy Dalton on that list.
Yep.
How many Super Bowls have all of these quarterbacks played in combined?
Played in?
Yes, played in.
0.
1.
Oh, yeah. Well, Goff.
I said all of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I keep thinking not Goff. I keep thinking everyone around Goff.
Right, but 1. And that includes Andy Dalton, who, by the way, has made 3 Pro Bowls.
Wait, you're telling me that Drew Lock hasn't been in the Super Bowl yet?
Not played in one, anyways.
So every time one as a kid.
We're talking about a guy who has made a Pro Bowl and played in a Super Bowl. Granted, he lost it, but he played in it, and he got there. And we're going to say that this guy is the 31st best quarterback in the league. And I'll agree that they had a very good team that year all around. He had a great running game. He had receivers that could catch the ball, and he had a very good defense as well. But I promise you, without Jared Goff doing what he had to do that year, they wouldn't have made the Super Bowl. They wouldn't have. And I know he's had a couple of down years since, but he also had a head coach who kind of, 1, seems to have been figured out a little bit, and 2, gave up on him. Let me ask you this. If the guy who decides what you do at your job gives up on you, does it really make your job that easy?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
We have breaking news.
Oh, we got some breaking news. Okay, let's
on
hear
the
it.
Pistons end.
All right.
This is a courtesy of Mark Stein. The Pistons are hiring former Cavaliers and Michigan coach John Beilein as their
Really?
director of player development.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. I think John Beilein's a hell of a coach.
Yep.
Hell of a coach.
Oh,
And
actually, sorry. He followed it up with saying formal
April
title.
Fools.
No, with the Pistons for Beilein will be senior advisor to player development.
All right. I'm okay with that. I like it. I think John Beilein's a hell of a coach, and he can develop players. He gets a lot of talent out of guys you wouldn't expect it from. So I already like the Pistons player development right now, and I think it's going to get even
that on
better.
the list of things I didn't expect to hear today.
No,
John Beilein on the Pistons.
I honestly couldn't even have told you what John Beilein was doing after the whole Cavs debacle. So, well, now we know.
Does this mean we're gonna draft Franz Wagner?
God, I hope not. God, I hope not. I do hope it means that the Pistons somehow find a way to bring Juwan Howard into this coaching staff. Again, another guy I think is a hell of a coach who gets a hell of a lot more out of his players than he should.
Fat chance.
Well, I straight up think Juwan Howard is destined for the NBA as a coach. I firmly believe that. I don't think he's staying at Michigan all that long. I think that
Really?
dude's destined for the NBA. Absolutely. I think that's his dream. Be a head coach in the NBA. After playing, obviously.
This is no slight to Dwayne Casey because I actually do really like the job Dwayne Casey's done.
No, I
with their
just
young
said
players.
somewhere in this coaching staff. I didn't say head coach. I just said somewhere in this coaching staff. Is
But
he going to give
eventually-
up the Michigan head coaching job to be an assistant coach for the Pistons? Hell no.
I don't think so.
You'd be dumb to do that. But is he going to give up the head coaching job at Michigan to be a head coach somewhere in the NBA? Yeah, he probably will. I really do believe that. But anyways, so back to Jared Goff.
Yes.
I straight up think he's a guy that's being disrespected a little bit here. Like I think he got a bit of a raw deal in his last couple of years in LA. I think their offense seemed a little bit broken the last few years, and it didn't really entirely have much to do with him, or totally to do with him, because the play calling was kind of broken. Because one, for at least one of those years, you had a running back who was running on a degenerative knee, who, mind you, the Lions might be bringing in.
Yeah, I wonder what happened with that.
Apparently, it was to talk like contract negotiations. Like it was straight up a sit down. Like they.
I heard he was in for a physical.
I heard he was in for like, let's talk money.
All right.
So we'll see what comes out of that, if anything comes out of that. Doesn't sound like much. But I really do believe Sean McVay got figured out a little bit. Teams learned how to stop him. I think that offense is really hinged upon a strong running game. And when Todd Gurley didn't have the same explosiveness, it didn't work.
Yeah, in 2019 he just barely scratched 1,000 scrimmage yards.
Right, and
scrimmage yards, not rushing yards.
Right.
And then 2020 he had 842. And these were in 15 games. It's not like he missed a ton of games.
We played for Atlanta in 2020.
Sorry, yeah, you're right.
But either way, that tells you what he was becoming. So, but I think given a new opportunity with a coach that believes in him, an offense that can get going, and a running game, because he's got protection on that line, and the running game is going to get going with that blocking power that they have there. I think Jared Goff can kind of turn his career around here. I really do believe
I hope you're right.
I do.
I hope you're
I do
right.
too, obviously. But I think he is going to get every opportunity to succeed. Am I guaranteeing his success? No. But I
don't
think
even
he's going to
necessarily
get an
completely
opportunity.
believe in the fact that he's going to be successful, but I hope
No,
you're right.
I don't either. I don't necessarily either. But I think he's going to get every opportunity. And I do honestly kind of believe that we could see a little bit of what we saw when he made his Pro Bowl.
So where do you rank him on this list, not knowing who the rest of them are, 26 and up?
I'd probably put him somewhere in the mid-20s, in all honesty.
I'm right there with you.
He's made 2 Pro Bowls, by the way. But I probably put him somewhere in the mid-20s. Like, is he a quarterback? Is he the same quarterback that made those 2 Pro Bowls? No, but he is only a couple of years removed from that. So it ain't like he forgot how to play football. I'll just tell you that. But yeah, I'd put him somewhere around those mid-20s.
I 100% agree with you.
Because I don't think that there's 34 or 30 quarterbacks better than him in this league. I don't.
Yeah, just for reference, DraftKings puts him at number 28, which is a full 3 spots higher.
A little bit better. Still not entirely. Like, who does DraftKings have ahead of him?
Justin Fields and Trey Lance.
I disagree with those, but okay.
Sam Darnold. Derek Carr.
Who makes these goddamn lists?
Daniel Jones, way ahead of him at 18.
Whoa. I mean,
Carson Wentz is ahead of him. Tua's ahead of him.
yes, that's me stroking out over here. How is Daniel Jones 10 spots ahead of him?
They have Daniel Jones ahead of Trevor Lawrence right now.
Why?
Baker Mayfield's on 22. Daniel Jones is a full 4 spots ahead of Baker Mayfield. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield.
Whoa, what? I would far rather. All right, is the dude who made this list a New York Giants fan? He's got to be.
Check Gresham. Let's find out about him.
Jesus. That's wild. Like, I know that, like, straight up, I know there are some Baker Mayfield haters out there, and honestly, I'm slightly one of them. Like, I it's not that I'm indifferent towards him, it's that just some of the things he does, I wish he didn't do. Like, Johnny Manziel, I couldn't stand. I wanted to see him fail in the league. I'd call me a bad person all you want. I wanted to see him fail. He just seemed like an asshole to me. But Baker Mayfield's done some stupid shit, and he has bugged me for it, and he talks too much. But, like, I don't necessarily hate him when he plays. Does that make sense?
No, I agree.
Like, it's like it's kind of like how I felt.
He at least gets us done a lot of the time.
Sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Yeah. It's kind of like how I used to feel towards LeBron, where I really didn't like him as a person. I thought he was pompous. I didn't like the way he carried himself, and I just felt like he had this "my shit don't stink" attitude about him.
Yeah.
But the dude on the court was just a marvel to watch. And then he got a little bit older, and now he deserves an Oscar for the amount of acting he does. But regardless.
We do need to move on, but I'm going to give you one more ranking real quick. This one's courtesy of NBC Sports. And this one makes a lot more sense for the most part.
Ahead of Jared Goff, huh?
Yep. Well, here you go. Daniel Jones is number 32. Drew Lock is number 31.
That one, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah. They tied. They said Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston at number 30. Just take your pick because it's ranking the starting quarterbacks.
Fair.
29 is Jalen Hurts. 28 is Sam Darnold. 27 Mac Jones.
Disrespect to Jalen Hurts, but okay.
Yep.
27 is who?
Mac Jones.
Okay.
26 Tua. 25 Trey Lance. 24 Justin Fields. You're wondering where Goff is, aren't you? Number 23 is Zach Wilson. 22 is Ryan Fitzpatrick. 21 is Ben Roethlisberger. 20 is Carson Wentz. 19 is Trevor Lawrence. 18 is Derek Carr. 17 is Baker Mayfield. Are you still wondering where Goff is?
Yes. Like, I'm sitting here thinking this person got up in the morning, ate his Wheaties, and then put his Jared Goff jersey on.
Number 16 is Jared Goff, right behind Joe Burrow.
Wow.
I would take Joe Burrow 100 times out of 100.
I would as well. And I would take Trevor Lawrence over Jared Goff. Like, honestly, sure.
I'm so surprised that Derek Carr is still so high at number 18, but
I am as well. Like, yes, some of those guys, I do understand why they're as far back as they are. Like the rookies, it is fair to put a lot of those back in those 20s. He must have a Jared Goff jersey. He must. And I didn't hate that. I think I hate that list the least. It honestly made the most sense.
Because it only dropped him down maybe a few spots. Like it's not really like I agree with that. Like 32 through like
I do too. I do too.
22.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do too. Do I think
Anyway.
Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback in the league? No. But is he anywhere outside the top 20? Like any lower than 25? No, he ain't that good.
Well, let's go on to the basketball side of things. So the Detroit Pistons have 5 upcoming free agent decisions to make here. Of our 5 free agents, all but one is 23 or under, which is interesting.
Well, I mean, the whole team was 23 or under.
However, only 2 are unrestricted. 3 of them are restricted. So I'm just gonna go one by one and tell you their status, and you tell me you let them walk or you're re-signing them. First one, at the age of 23.
Can I just cop out and say I offer him a qualifying deal?
If you want. At the age of 23, point guard Dennis Smith Jr., restricted free agent. We have his bird rights.
Please don't tell me we're using bird rights on DSJ. I think he's a guy I let walk just because of what my goals are in the draft, what I think is going to be available to us in the draft, plus what the shape up, the way that the roster is shaped up this year with the emergence of Saban Lee, Frank Jackson, and then you have Killian Hayes as well. I just don't see an opportunity for Dennis Smith Jr. to carve out a role with this team and for the future. So I would let Dennis Smith Jr. walk.
I agree, and I actually do really like Dennis Smith Jr.
I do too.
And I think he got dealt a bad hand because he got hit with the injury bug pretty quickly in his time in Detroit. Didn't have much of a chance to really prove himself, but there isn't much of a need for him on this team, and that's just it's not that I don't like the player; it's more of a need-based thing. I'd rather go with the homegrown talent with Saban Lee, who's honestly probably the guy that takes his roster spot. So that's where I'd rather go. And that's next RFA is Saban Lee. Non-bird rights.
I bring him back. It's not going to be expensive. There's no reason not to. He played well at times. You've seen the development. I think Saban Lee should be brought back on. It's probably going to be a real cheap contract. So I'd bring him back.
I agree 100%. It'd probably be cheap to
at
keep him
worst,
and worth it.
He's a solid depth play.
Hamidou Diallo, restricted free agent, 23 years old.
Sign that man. You sign that man immediately. This dude is a guy that I would put as a part of the future of this franchise. And I'm
curious how much he's going to command though.
Oh, I am
as a restricted free agent
because he actually played pretty damn well for the Pistons, towards the end of the season.
So, because here's the thing, because I agree, I want Hamidou Diallo on this team. My question is, how much are you willing to pay for him if we were to say draft Jalen Green?
Honestly, I think Diallo's a guy you could probably get for somewhere in the range of the 7 to 9 mil. And
I was gonna say around 10 mil. So you're in my range, but
see, I don't know what he's gonna command 10 mil because he really didn't get opportunity in OKC to really do anything. And we're talking about half of a season of work where he was injured for part of it, didn't really get a ton of opportunity for part of it, and then towards the end of the season when nobody else played, he looked really good. Is that enough to command him 10 mil? Maybe, but
so this one is courtesy. This information I should say is courtesy of Pistons Powered. They are actually speculating on what Hamidou Diallo could command. They kind of took Malik Beasley, Josh Richardson, Dylan Brooks as players with who have a similar profile and are around Diallo's age when they got their deals. So Malik Beasley got 4 years, 60 mil.
Jesus, seriously?
Yeah.
The
Josh
potential
Richardson,
with Malik Beasley was a lot higher on the offense side of the ball, though, wasn't it?
I agree. I agree with that. Josh Richardson got 4 years, 41, and
Why?
Dylan Brooks got 335, and I think Dylan Brooks is just now starting to come into his own, but not at the time of the contract.
All right, fine. Dude probably will get 10, 11 mil, and I'd still give it to him.
Which is why I was saying, I think 10 mil is probably
give it to
baseline
him.
there.
Give it to him.
And so my question is, if we were to land Jalen Green in this draft, for example,
Jalen Green's a guy that'll still play more of a guard position, and Diallo you can play as a 2-3 on the wing. I mean, he's a guy who can, with the length and the size, he's able to defend that wing position fairly well. So he just might be relegated to. He might be relegated to your 6 man, which I don't mind paying a 6 man 10 mil. I don't have a problem with Diallo being a 6 man and putting up the numbers and the production that he's able to put up for us. Absolutely not. I would love to give Diallo a $10 million contract to be a guy that plays 25, 30 minutes a game. Absolutely.
All right. Next guy, 23 years old, point guard, unrestricted free agent, Frank Jackson.
Bring him back. I mean, at the very least, he has to have earned it, right?
Yeah, it's the very least is a spark plug off the bench.
Right. He can score a little bit off the bench for you. He can. That's about it. That's all he's going to do is score for you a little bit off the bench. But no, there's no reason not to bring him back. He's not going to be a huge role in this team. It's more of a stopover type deal until we start competing. It'll probably be like a 2-3 year deal. That's going to be real cheap. I'm talking just a few mil here a year. So there's no reason not to bring him back. He earned it.
No, I agree. And as long as it stays cheap,
yes,
I'm all for it.
Yes, it has to stay cheap.
If some contending teams try to scoop in and create a bidding war, have them.
if Scott Boras decides to walk in the room and become a basketball agent and, slaps his giant briefcase down on Troy Weaver's desk and says, all right, I want millions and millions of dollars for Frank Jackson, I'd say, see ya.
It's not like you can't find spark plug scores to come off the bench and hit a few shots for you.
I mean, hell, you had that in Corey Joseph this year as well.
Yeah. You had it in Wayne Ellington, too. Mm-hmm. You had a few of those players. That brings us to our last guy, Wayne Ellington, 33 years old, unrestricted free agent.
I think he's a guy you let walk. And the reason is because he just doesn't really fit into the future of this team. Like, most of the guys we mentioned are really young. Actually, all the guys we mentioned are really young. There's a chance for them to be in the future of this franchise. And for Wayne Ellington, it just doesn't make sense. He's not going to really help the Pistons be what you want them to be. And frankly, I think he's going to get a decent enough deal that makes it just not worth it to bring him back here, because he's going to get the deal somewhere else. And I don't see a reason to match it. So I see Wayne Ellington.
So in conclusion, we are basically trying to keep Diallo and Saban Lee as priorities.
Yes.
Frank Jackson, as long as the contract stays friendly, and then Dennis Jr. and Wayne Ellington can walk.
Yep. I'm in with that.
I agree with that as well. All right. Let's bring it back to the draft lottery, close things out for tonight.
Let's do it.
So if you guys remember from last show, basically what we do is we just take a spin at the Tankathon lottery board simulator thing, and we try to mock up to the Pistons pick. So to remind you guys, Pistons had the second best odds, well, the best odds, but we're second in this draft, so second best odds in this draft. Let's sim it. Fingers crossed, guys. Say a prayer. And the Pistons.
God, worst possible scenario. This is as low as the Pistons can go.
So if Minnesota gets the number 1 pick for the second year in a row.
Oh, God.
Oklahoma City goes up 2 spots to get the number 2 pick. From Toronto moves up 4 spots to the 3rd pick.
Which that's actually huge, because that's Houston losing that pick, actually. They lose the pick if it's not in the top 3 or 4, and then moving down to 5, that's big. They give it up to OKC, so that hurts.
Yeah, New Orleans moves up 6 spots for number 4, and like you said, Houston moves to 5, loses the pick. So OKC has 2 picks in the top 5, number 2 and number 5.
Oh, God, that would be amazing. If that was
Detroit
the Pistons, that would be amazing.
In at 6. So I think we can safely mock Cade to Minnesota, give them the Cade, Anthony Edwards backcourt, and then let them do what they will with D'Angelo Russell.
Yep.
Number 2 to Oklahoma City. What do you think, Jalen Green or Evan Mobley here? Or maybe even Suggs, because SGA likes to play off ball.
He does. That's actually kind of an interesting one, because they really could go any number of ways here. And frankly, because they've got Darius Baisley, who does play a forward, but also a guard type position, who I really think is going to be a part of that future as well. So Luguentz Dort as well. Ty Jerome, I think they're going to want to have continue to be there. Theo Maledon, another guard, I think they're going to want to continue to build around. So maybe they don't go guard, because it does get kind of...
Evan Mobley seems like the best fit here, and
he kind of
make the argument best player available.
He kind of does. So yeah, I think Evan Mobley could be the pick for OKC here.
Okay. Which probably is much of the chagrin of Toronto, because I could really see him being there. But now Toronto basically has their pick of the 2 Jalen Suggs and Jalen Green.
I think they go with the one who is probably the best in their mind and in a lot of analysts' mind, including ours, and it's Jalen Green.
I agree. And I think it's a beautiful fit in Toronto.
I do too. Absolutely.
They need scores.
And Kyle Lowry ain't getting any younger.
Yeah. At number 4, New Orleans, I think Jalen Suggs slots right in. Even though I know they like to let Zion handle the ball and play the point forward a bit, but I do think Jalen Suggs slots in pretty nicely.
Does make it kind of interesting with Lonzo Ball there, depending on if he does return. But yeah, I think Jalen Suggs slots in pretty well there.
I mean, they're not. I don't think they're going to pass up. There's a pretty big drop off, I think, between Suggs and the next guy. So I think at this point, take best player available and figure it out later. Number 5, OKC. They don't shy away from guys like Kuminga, and it fits just like for us. It fits their timeline to take a guy who might be still a couple years away from actually playing at a high level. So I think
does
Kuminga
make
is
it a little
here.
bit interesting, and this is where they may end up not going with Kuminga, because they do that would give them a little bit of a logjam with Poku still there as a big man. It would give them a little bit of a logjam drafting 2
Is that
bigger
the reset
guys.
years to take a project? Darius Baisley, then Poku, and then Kuminga.
Yeah. So maybe they go with a wing and a guy like Jalen Johnson or something. But the best player there is Jonathan Kuminga.
Maybe they add some defense and grab Scotty Barnes.
That also was a possibility as well.
But either way, so if they don't take Kuminga, if we think that's too many projects in a row, that means Kuminga falls at number 6 to Detroit. Which, again, I'm not entirely opposed to Kuminga because, again, it does technically throw a timeline. It probably allows us to suck for another year and get another high draft pick.
It does, but I like Davion Mitchell better.
I mean, yeah, I like Mitchell. I've said before, I like Book Knight a little bit lower, but I still like his Trey Mann. But I think for everyone except for maybe Davion Mitchell, I think you could probably trade back. I think you probably trade back and get Book Knight. I'm sure you can trade back and get Trey Mann.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think but you'd stay here and you would take Davion Mitchell over Kuminga.
Probably because I don't see the Pistons wanting to take on another big project because I still think Killian Hayes is looked at as a little bit of a project, and then you have Sekou as well. I don't see the Pistons wanting to take on another multi-year project like what you have with Jonathan Kuminga and Sekou Doumbouya. So I think the Pistons would probably go with a Davion Mitchell. That's a little bit more of a sure thing.
I feel that. I think my whole mindset right now is I'm debating if I want to say just trade back from number 6.
Which is probably the better option because, frankly, you can trade back into probably the low teens, like 14, 15, and get a guy like a Book Knight or a Trey Mann there. And be very happy with that.
I'd be so upset.
Oh, I would too.
I'd be so upset.
I would too. That would literally crush my hopes and dreams for the future of this organization. Like it would set this organization back another year.
I'm gonna say Kuminga. I think that's where unless you trade the pick. If you trade the pick to move back a spot or two,
he's a guy with the highest ceiling. It makes sense.
You can probably land Davion Mitchell. If you stay there, I'd probably say Kuminga, or if you want to trade back even further, Book Knight or Mann, or maybe even Josh Giddey. Like he's my next target that I've been really trying to focus on lately has been Josh Giddey. Yeah, that's kind of worst case scenario. Sorry guys, that was a bummer way to close out.
Sure was. Let's do one more because we can't end on that. That's brutal.
Actually, say a prayer this time.
Please.
Here we go.
Please.
Well,
oh jeez, just reroll.
Houston gets number 1.
Chicago moves up to number 2. Wow, this was wild.
2. Charlotte moves up 8 spots, number 3. Indiana moves up 9 spots to number 4.
This one's wild. Reroll, please.
And Detroit is at 5. At 5, I think. Again, I changed my tune from last week. Again, 5, I think probably take Kuminga unless one of those top 4 someone dropped to you. All right, fine. I'll roll one more for you. If we don't land it, we don't land the top 4. It's number 6.
Just re-roll again. I can't handle this pain.
Golden State moves up 13 spots to
number 1. Oh, and New Orleans moves up 7 to number 3. That's garbage. Hit the sim lottery
both Houston
again.
and Detroit moved out again. All right, let's just play a game to close it out. How many sims is it going to take for us to get a top 4 pick?
I like
this. This is number 4 right now. There we go.
All right, number 4. Chicago gets the number 1 pick here. Houston loses their pick to OKC at number 5.
Yep.
And OKC gets number 2. So this is another one where they get 2 and 5.
Do you think there is
Minnesota
a way?
lost their pick to Golden State at number 7.
Do you think you can make it? No, I can't make the argument. I was going to say, do you think you can make the argument that that Orlando passes on Evan Mobley for Jalen Suggs?
No.
But I just remember they drafted Cole Anthony.
Yeah,
so they're not going to take Suggs. So, yeah, Suggs at 4 to Detroit.
Suggs probably 4 to Detroit because I think OKC might go. What if OKC goes Evan Mobley and he's not available to Orlando at number 3 and they've got Green and Suggs
Orlando
there?
Definitely takes Green.
I would probably
agree. We still
land
Suggs.
Yes. Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Oh my God! I hope the lottery turns out better than what happened tonight.
Because our luck tonight was terrible.
Jesus, what was that? All right. Well, that about does it for us. We'll put you guys out of your misery for that one.
Yeah. Ouch. That is going to close it out for this week, guys. We thank you for listening. Andrew, thank you for joining me, and thank you to Detroit Sports Podcast as well. Catch us next week. Follow us on Twitter at RealFanReport. Give us your thoughts on the Chris Sims ranking, where Jared Goff lands, and where you think Jared Goff lands in the quarterback rankings as well. And let us know if there's anything you guys want us to talk about in the upcoming weeks as we go into the NBA lottery and into deeper into the offseason. But we thank you guys again, and we will catch you next week. This has been the Fan Reporters. Bye, fans.
For fans.
Have a good weekend, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Peace.